Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on issue assignments. My name's Jess, and I'll be taking you through today's webinar. Just to let you know, this is being recorded today, and it will take us around 45 minutes to an hour, depending on questions, to get through today's webinar. I will send you all a recording of the webinar by the end of play today. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to go through the agenda with you all so that you understand what it is we are going to be running through today. So first of all, we're going to be going through the benefits of adding agents onto Fixflo. And then I'm going to be very quickly showing you how to add a new agent onto Fixflo. Then we're going to be going through assignments. So once you've got an agent set up on Fixflo, you can then assign them to properties, landlords, and also postcodes. We're going to go through archiving agents. There's also a term within Fixflo called property manager, and you can essentially assign properties, not just as an issue assignment, but also have a property manager as part of that property. So I'm going to be going through kind of property manager, what does that mean, and how can you kind of set that all up? And at the end, we're going to be going through setting up teams on Fixflo. Any questions at all, guys, please get them over to me. I'm so happy to answer your questions and also to see you guys get engaged as well. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A if you can. If you could avoid the chat, then it just streamlines absolutely everything really, really nicely for me. And I'd be more than happy to answer all of your questions at the end of the webinar, just to keep us on track. Before we move forward, I'm just going to launch a quick poll. I'm just going to go through, first of all, the first thing on today's agenda, which is the benefits of adding agents. Now, you could have it where, for example, two people always log in with the same email address and just go into Fixflo that way. No problem at all, absolutely fine. However, when somebody new does join your team, it is great to actually get them up on Fixflo and added as a whole new agent. And the reason we do recommend this is because each agent has access to their very own customizable dashboard, so they can kind of set it up exactly the way they want to. You can also set up assignments per agent. Now, we're going to be going through that obviously in today's webinar, so you'll understand that much better by the end of the webinar, hopefully. You can also assign each agent to a team. So we're going to be going through kind of teams a bit later, but if you do have teams set up, then what you can do is you can assign different agents to those teams. You can also track your issues. So each and every issue will have an audit tab, and that will essentially create a full paperless trail of absolutely everything that's happened at that particular issue. So that's a great way to kind of find out, okay, what has happened at this issue, and you can see who has been doing what. So that can be really, really helpful. Comments. You can actually send comments from one agent to another. Again, I'm not sure how often that is used or whether people even are aware that that's functionality, but that can be a great thing. And I'm really happy to actually show you that as well within this webinar, just so that you can see that. You can also set up user permissions as well. So you can have different user roles, and you could have, for example, one agent that has access to all of the setup options where they can edit things like the emails and all of the content pop-up messages and things, and then other agents maybe that don't have those permissions. So there really are benefits of making sure that every single agent user has got their very own login to Fixflo. So hopefully this is really clear. It's also free, so you don't have to pay per user or anything like that. So we'd really recommend that if you are adding people to Fixflo, that you do in fact add them as a new agent. One final benefit actually that's not on this list as well is that each new agent will receive kind of drip feed emails, if you like, which will kind of train them up a bit on Fixflo. All new agents will receive those as well. So it just allows them to, for example, access our webinars and kind of learn a bit more about Fixflo as well. So that could also be kind of a final benefit there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now how you can add an agent onto Fixflo. It's really, really easy to do. So all you need to do is click here on People when you're logged into Fixflo. Click here on Agents, and literally you would click here on Add Agent. Hopefully you understand the benefits to doing this. If there are any questions about any of that, please do just get in touch. There's a Q&A on your Zoom bar, but hopefully it's really clear now as to why it really is beneficial that everybody has their very own login and password, and that they can log in to Fixflo using that. Very quickly going to show you how you can actually send comments from one agent to another before I forget that, because again, I think it's something that people aren't always aware of. So to do this, you would click here on Dashboard, and I'm just going to click into an issue. Okay, so there's one I raised today. Now I'm logged in, as you can see here, as George. And if I go to the comments tab here and I scroll down, I don't need to scroll down actually because we've maximized things, but you can see here there's a little send to button. Now it is quite hidden because at the moment, if I go on send to, it will show me everybody who's currently involved with the issue. So I've got the reporting occupier, the landlord, and I can also send a message to all, which would be both of those parties. If I wanted to send a message to another agent, I could actually start typing in their email address, and you can see here the different agents appear. And this would be a fantastic way to, for example, say, I want to send a message. I'm George, and I want to send a message to Jane because, I don't know, she's been on annual leave and I've actually been dealing with an issue for her. So that's something that you can always do. So I hope that you've learned something from that. And if not, you will learn something from the rest of the webinar. So when it comes to assignments, you can set up property assignments, landlord assignments, and postcode assignments. Now, if you do have assignments set up for your agents or teams, then what happens is when an issue is reported, say we go with property assignment for this example, and you've set up that a certain property is going to be assigned to Jane, as an example. If an issue is then reported at that particular property, then the issue will be assigned automatically to Jane. It won't just come through as an unassigned issue. So there we go. It's all about streamlining your processes so that Jane is getting all of the correct issues that she should have because she's looking after a certain number of properties. Those agents, as well as being assigned the issue, they will also receive the email notifying them of the newly reported issue. So I hope that makes sense. So you can set it up to automate certain issues straight to a particular agent or team, and they will receive the newly reported issue via email. So how do you set up property assignments? So this is a very good question. So you would simply go to your properties here. If you click into a property and scroll down, you've got your issue assignment section here. So agents and teams can be automatically allocated to receive issues related to this property. So all you need to do is literally click here and start typing an agent or a team name. So if we go with Jane, if I type in Jane, you can see the agent there appears. I click her there and then I press save. And that now means that any new issues which are reported at 100 Bear Lane will automatically get assigned to Jane, and she will also receive that email. So that's how you set up property assignments. If you are going to be setting up property assignments, I would recommend that you make sure that you have a certain setting set up within your settings. So only administrator users can actually access setup, but setup does sit here on your left-hand menu sidebar. And by clicking on here, you can access settings. If I click into settings, here you have got your address search option. So it's within the initial tab that you're taken to called issue settings. And you literally just need to scroll down a little bit. And it says here, there are a number of options for sourcing addresses in the postcode lookup for issue create for occupiers. So this means that when an occupier reports maintenance issues, they type in their postcode, and there's different ways that the addresses can be sourced for them once they've kind of typed in their postcode. They are available here on the drop down, and by default, it will always be standard national address lookup. Now, we would highly recommend, especially if you are going to be using property assignment, that you have only display uploaded properties. Now, the reason for that is because then you can ensure that only your uploaded properties will actually pull through. So occupiers can only select those properties. So the assignment will most definitely work then, because they will be selecting a property from your list, which is then assigned to an agent. Another brilliant benefit of this is that it means you cannot start duplicating properties, because occupiers, if for example you've got the standard national address lookup, that means then they could actually go in and make small edits, and that could then create lots and lots of duplicate properties on your system. And that can be really, really frustrating and lead to quite a lot of work down the line. So we'd highly, highly recommend that you make sure you've got only display uploaded properties, and that you scroll down and click Save Settings. One other final thing to mention here would be, if you are going to have only display uploaded properties as your setting, you must make sure that when you start managing new properties, that you go to properties and you add the new properties there. I do hope that makes sense. Now, that was how you would assign a property to a particular agent. We do have a way to actually bulk do this as well. So it doesn't have to be done on a 1-by-1 property. So if after this webinar, you think, God, do you know what, this is a good idea, I'm going to go on to Fixflo and I'm going to make sure that 50 properties are assigned to Jane and the other 40 are assigned to John. You do not have to go in case by case. What you can do is, if you click on properties on your left-hand menu sidebar, and then click here on the options button, you've got this little bulk actions section here. Now, if I click on bulk actions, you can literally click on all results so that all of your properties will assign. Or you can literally tick through the ones that you want to assign to, I don't know, Jane. Click on reassign agent or team, and then you can choose that you want to assign these all to Jane, and then press save. And once you've done that, those 6 properties will then assign automatically, well, not automatically, but straight away to that particular person. And that can be a real time saver, guys. So please make sure, if after this webinar, this is something you want to do, don't go in 1-by-1, but actually go through the bulk action option here. It will really save you a lot of time, as you can imagine. And one final thing you can do as well is, when you are in your property search, all of our searches have this little drop down arrow on the right hand side of the search bar. So you can see this one just here. This is a classic drop down filter, which allows you to narrow down your search. So do look out for them on our searches, and don't be afraid to use them. So you can click into this one here. And for example, you have got this narrow down filter option here called agent or team. So what I could do is I can click here and I can actually see all of my unassigned properties, which is actually a new feature we've recently built, because before you could search for agents, but you couldn't just see your unassigned properties. So if I clicked on unassigned and press search, I can see that, gosh, I've got 76 unassigned properties. Maybe actually I want to get these assigned. So that's something you can then do, and then go through options and bulk actions and start assigning them. And like I just showed you, you can also see, for example, all of the properties assigned to George, which I'm logged in as, none. And if I go to Jane, I can see that actually she's got 7 properties assigned to her. So I hope that's been helpful in terms of understanding how to assign properties to an agent or team. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can do this on a landlord basis. Now, I'm sure you guys all absolutely love this little bulk actions button. Unfortunately, it's only here on properties. We don't have it for landlords. So if you are going to set up landlord assignments for agents or teams, that must be done on a manual basis. So on a landlord by landlord basis. To set this up, you would simply click here on People, Landlords, and you would click into the landlord of your choice. You would need to scroll down and open up issue assignments here. And here you could then assign this particular landlord to an agent or team. So nice and easy. I might want to assign this one to myself. So George, I'm logged in as, not sure why. And then I could press save. And then you can see that that this landlord, Mr. Moonling, is now assigned to George. So that is now set up. What does that mean? That means that any properties which are linked to George, and not to George, sorry, to Mr. Moonling, they can be seen on the properties tab here. So that means that any issues that come through for those properties will then assign to George. Yeah, so that can be done on a per landlord basis. Sorry, unfortunately, it cannot be done as a bulk action. Properties can, though, to make it a bit easier. And you must make sure if you are going to be setting up landlord assignment, it's really, really important that you make sure the properties are properly linked, or the assignment won't work correctly. The final assignment you can set up is postcode assignments. Now, postcode assignment is actually done within the agent profile itself. And what that's saying is it's saying any properties within this particular range will be assigned to this particular agent. So if I click on agents, you can see all of your agents here, and I can click into the agent of my choice. If I click on issue allocations, I can scroll down and I've got postcode assignments here. So with postcode assignment, you have the choice of either adding the complete postcode, for example, SM2 6QZ, something like that. So you've got the entire postcode, then obviously you're being really, really particular and quite accurate. Or alternatively, you can use just the out code, which is just the very beginning of the postcode. So you can see here, I've got some examples. We've got SE1, SM1, SW4, and it does show you exactly what location that's actually covering. And obviously it's slightly broader than using the entire postcode, but you have the option of either one. That's no problem at all. And to add postcodes, you simply add them here. If you are going to add multiple, you must make sure that you use a comma to separate them at least. So I could put in here SM2, SM3. So I'm using a comma and a space. Alternatively, you could use a new line, completely up to you. But if I then press add, you can see that those postcodes add for me now as well. So that means that any issues that are reported at these postcodes will then automatically be assigned to George. As I hope you understand it, they will then receive the issue with the newly reported the email with the newly reported issue, and they will also be automatically assigned to that particular issue. To remove postcode allocation, it's really easy to do. You can simply click here on the delete button and I can remove them nice and easily like that. Okay, so we've talked about property assignment, landlord assignment, and also postcode assignment. Now, I guess a question that might be bubbling in your mind is, well, which one trumps the other, right? So if you've got, I don't know, postcode assignment set up for George, but then you've got property assignment set up for Jane, and that property is within that postcode, what happens? Who does the issue go to? And that is a brilliant question if it's something you've been thinking. The answer is postcode assignment actually trumps both property and landlord assignment, and then property. So it will go postcodes, properties, landlords. To be honest, it's probably worth making sure that you choose one. I would say property assignment is slightly better in terms of you make sure that you've got all of your properties on Fixflo. You make sure you've got the correct setting so that duplicate properties can't come through, and only the properties that you actually manage are showing on the occupier side when they're reporting issues. And then you're really pinpointing who is dealing with which property. I would probably recommend going through that, but it is completely up to you. Just as long as you're aware, it does go postcode, property, and then landlord. So I do hope that that makes sense. You've probably also noticed that when I'm in a profile here, so by clicking on people, agents, and clicking into an agent, I'm actually going to go to Jane for this example. If you go to the issue allocations tab, which is where you set up postcode assignment, you can actually see kind of an overview of everything happening with Jane just here. So I can see how many open issues she has. I can see how many landlords she's assigned to, how many properties she's assigned to, how many properties she's the property manager of. We will get to that very shortly. It was great though. I can see like 50% of you understand that, so that's brilliant. You can also see that this is a planned maintenance thing, these two last ones. So you can see how many service events she has in progress and also how many service events are awaiting review. So anybody on your team has access to click onto agents and actually go in to see kind of their summary, if you like. But this is brilliant. It's relatively new. It's not super old, but it's been there a bit of time. But I'm not sure if people are aware of this. So I really want to show you these things. You can obviously click into the property assignment here and actually see all of these properties here. And you can also click here on options and bulk action those particular ones as well. So I do hope that makes sense and that summary is something that you guys are going to be able to really use. Now, when it comes to archiving agents, so if somebody sadly leaves your team, then obviously you are going to want to make sure you archive them, which means they will no longer be able to have access to log into Fixflo. But the really important thing to note is if you archive them and you haven't removed their assignments will remain. So best practice, before you archive an agent, you should click into them. So say Jane's leaving. Go to the issue allocations. First of all, you can reassign her issues. So if I click here on open issues and go to options, there is a bulk reassign issues section here. There's also bulk close if ever you needed to use that. But if I click here on bulk reassign issues, again, I could select all results and I could bulk reassign these to another agent or team if I wanted to. And the same with properties. So you could do that with her, first of all, her issues to make sure somebody else is dealing with them. Landlord assignment, again, you'll need to click into the landlord and do it on a per landlord basis. And property assignment, you would click into the properties here and you would use that bulk actions option so that you could reassign those properties to somebody else. Obviously, if you're reassigning them to a new agent, you'll need to add that new agent, first of all, within agents and add new agent before you can reassign those to that particular new agent who might be taking over from her. But I do hope that makes sense. Really important to make sure that you've reassigned everything correctly, because otherwise it might just get lost, especially with issues. Well, with anything, you know, you want to make sure that you're keeping on top of things and you are streamlining things correctly and things are efficient, and someone hasn't left but issues are still getting assigned to that person. It can then get quite messy. How do you archive an agent? Well, once you've done all of that and you're happy, you can then click into them here, scroll down, and then simply click on archive. As I say, they will no longer then be able to log into your Fixflo site. Okay, perfect. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is all about this property manager. And this can be set up within a property profile. So within property profile, you can set up issue assignments, which is what we've just gone through. And I really do hope that's made sense. As I say, any questions at all, just drop them in the Q&A. I'd be so happy to answer them. A few have come through already, which is brilliant to see. And I will be answering them towards the end of the webinar. And you can also set up, so as well as issue assignment, you can also set up a property manager. Now, what does this mean? So with issue assignment, we've just gone through it. I'm just going to go over it one more time, just in case. So issue assignment means that the issue is automatically assigned to the agent or team, and the agents will receive an email notification with newly reported issues. Property manager means that the issue will not automatically be assigned to that property manager, and that agent will not receive an email notification with the newly reported issue. That will go through to the person actually assigned to the issue. Property managers do not actually deal with issues on properties, but they may look after something such as budgets, perhaps. And there are dashboard filters available for My Properties. So essentially, this can give you an overview. So first of all, to set this up, you would click on Properties. And again, this can either be done as a bulk action or on a per property basis. So you could click into a property here. You could scroll down and you've got the property manager section here. It's just above issue assignment. And if I set, for example, George as the property manager of this particular property and press save, now he's set as the property manager. Again, any issues reported at this particular property will not be automatically assigned to George, and he will not receive those emails. But what he can do is he can click on dashboard, because I'm signed in as George. I can go to a dashboard panel. So each and every dashboard panel has got filters set up, and these sit on the top right-hand corner of each and every specific panel. And this allows you to get more granular with your panels that you have set up on Fixflo. So if I hover over this one, reported issues to do, and I go to these three little people, I can change whose issues I'm viewing, and I can view my properties. Now that means these are, so there's none in here. Let's try this one. There we go. So this means that George is not assigned to these issues necessarily. He could be. It could be that he's been resolving them and he's been working on them and they're assigned to him anyway. But what it means is he is the property manager at these properties and these issues have come up. So he may just want to have a look at all of these issues. Again, you can see, for example, this issue is actually unassigned. So is this one. So again, he's not assigned to the issues, but he's the property manager of, this property, 1 Lampett's Lane, and he can see all of the issues going on at those particular properties. He's the property manager of. This can also be done as a bulk action, guys, by clicking here on properties, going to options and going to bulk actions, where you can reassign property manager here. So that is something you can do. You can also, when you're within your properties here, you can actually click here on search, use this little drop down filter and search for property manager. So I could say, okay, I want to see all of the properties which George is the property manager of. Okay, it's just one, but it gives me that idea. And plus, if I go back into people, if I click on agents and I go into George and I go to this issue allocations tab, which I showed you before with the summary, I can see the property manager section here as well. I do hope that makes sense. It might not be something that you want to use, but it might be. And if you do, remember, you've got that bulk action. So you can do it really, really quickly. And then you can, on your dashboard, you can, for example, view panels by my properties as well as my issues. So there is a difference. And the difference is all to do with, if you're the property manager, you are not assigned the issues. You are not going to get the email to say a new issue has been reported, but you can oversee everything going on. I do hope that makes sense. We built it for flexibility. I think some clients really wanted it. So hopefully it's something that you could use. Before I go on and we talk about teams, one thing I want to talk about is, so what happens to issues that aren't assigned to anyone? So what if an issue comes in and that property is not assigned, the landlord's not assigned, the postcode isn't assigned? Where do these issues go? So the person that can view this, again, must have administrator rights, and they will need to click here on setup and go to settings. And you're going to want to click into the contact settings tab here. So here you have got the central email address. Now, guys, this is a required field. And I always explain this as a bit of a net. So I say that with the central email address, this is where all of the issues which do not have any assignment set up will go to. If, for example, you've got assignments set up, that will be caught initially, and everything else will fall into this net, which is the central email address here. And you've also got this email CC option. So you can, for example, say, okay, I want this to go to the central email address, like property manager at, I don't know, example.com. But I also want it to go to Jane and to John and to Chris. I want to make sure these people are in the loop. You might not want to set up assignment, but you want to make sure the right people are getting the correct emails. This is it. So central email address, that is where all of the unassigned issues will end up going. Again, I really hope that makes sense. Also, if an unassigned issue comes in, or if any issue actually, and you have so if it's an unassigned issue and a member of staff starts using the Fixflo workflows to progress that issue, the issue will automatically reassign to that particular agent. And if you have an issue which is already assigned to an agent, but a new agent starts working on it, again, those issues will reassign automatically. So anybody who's not the assigned agent that starts working on an issue and starts using the workflows, the issue will automatically reassign. Remember, one of our main searches, guys, is by clicking here on issues on your left-hand menu sidebar, and you can click here on issue search. Here on issue search, we've got the little drop down on the right-hand side. This is where you can kind of search for anything at all, really. It's our kind of broadest search, if you like. You've got this drop down, and you could, for example, want to look at issues assigned to a team, to an agent, where you've got the property manager. I think we need to remove one of these properties, but yeah, little bug there. So yeah, you can go and have a look and really narrow down your search if you're looking for something particular. So do not forget that you have got that as well. Okay, we are nearly at the end. I'm just going to now go through teams. So if you have multiple people looking after multiple properties or looking after certain postcodes, and you want the issues to go to more than one person, you can then create teams on Fixflo. Again, this comes at no extra cost. To do this, you would click on people, and you would scroll down and click here on teams. From here, you've got all of your teams, and you can easily add a new team by clicking here on add team. Just to let you know, you can only add one agent to one team. So you can't have Jane in multiple teams, for example. You must choose one team for them to go into. And once you've got your team set up, you can see how many agents are assigned to these teams on the right-hand side. And I can click into, for example, here, South, where I can see the name, the description, if added, that's an optional field. And I can, for example, see who is in that team. I can see it's George. I can add new agents here. So, for example, if I wanted to build this team up a bit, I could then add Jane, add Adam, and you can really kind of build this team up. And then you've also got the assignments tab here as well. And it's got this kind of, it's slightly downscaled from the agent one, but you can see how many open issues this team has, how many landlords assigned, and how many properties assigned as well. So, and you've also got the postcode assignment here as well. So you can kind of see which issues will be going automatically to that particular team. Final thing you can do, so I've talked about the dashboard filters. You can set dashboard filters to, for example, view different teams as well. So if you are heading up a team, you may want to see all of the issues going on in South. And that's very possible as well. Okay, perfect. So I think that's pretty much absolutely everything. There are a few questions that have come through. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to release a second poll just to kind of find out how you guys got on in this webinar. Okay, excellent. So I'm now going to go through the questions. So a question's come in from Oliver. Hi, Jess. When we have an agent assigned to a landlord or property, is there a way to set up an annual leave schedule so things do not get missed? That's a really, really good question, actually, Ollie. I unfortunately not at the moment. It is something I can definitely put forward to the team. What you would need to do is if you had, it would be easier, I guess, with properties because you have got that bulk option. But I would say if somebody is off on annual leave, the best thing to do is to click here on properties, click here on options, and use the bulk action so that you can just temporarily reassign those properties to another agent, and then remember just to flick it back when that agent comes back. But it is something I will raise with our development team. A question has also come in from Steph. So hi Steph, is there a way of bulk moving on the follow update? If not, please can you put that forward as a development request? I'm not quite sure I know what you mean. Are you talking about the reminder date? If you could just give me a bit more information, Steph, that would be brilliant, and I'd be happy to answer. Okay, so you've just said yes, the reminder date. So there's no way, unfortunately, of doing that. Can I it'd be great to maybe have a chat with you if you're happy, and I can give you a call and we can go through, because so whenever we send something to the development team, what they really are interested in knowing is what we are trying to fix. So what's the problem that we're trying to overcome? It will really kind of strengthen what we send. If maybe I can have a chat with you, Steph, I'll be able to find your email from you signing up to this, and I can reach out and maybe we can set up a call if that would be helpful. It'd be good to kind of know how that would help you. If you can just let me know. Yeah, you said thank you. I will definitely reach out to you then, Steph. No worries at all. Christian, you've also got in touch. Hello. Can planned maintenance issues be automatically assigned to a certain agent? For example, gas safeties to one agent and EICRs to another. So when you set up planned maintenance events, you can set up assignment. Bear with me just 1 second. I'm just going to check something that I actually don't know the answer to. No. So when you set up service events, you either set them up as a bulk import if you're doing a lot, which is highly recommended, and there is a video which really clearly explains how you can do that. It's available on our help site. Our help site, by the way, guys, is down here. Just need help, just give that a click, search for questions. You can find our articles and our videos, and you can also reach out to us here. So there's a fantastic video on that for you, Christian. You will add who the assigned agent is. There's no way to automatically do it where you say all gas safeties are going to be assigned to one agent, all EICRs. I can add it because you can to development. I can ask development about this, because when you go to your planned maintenance section here and you go to event templates, you can click into an event template, for example here, EPC, and you can kind of make changes here. So it would be brilliant. I think this is what you'd want, is to have assigned agent here so that you could have somebody so it automatically pulls through. When you do set up planned maintenance events, so for example, if I go to properties here within planned maintenance and I click into a property, when I go to add a service event manually, you can here, for example, assign this to an agent. I know that if you don't pull this through and it's for a property assigned to a particular agent, that will automatically assign. But at the moment, it's on a per service event basis. I will raise that with the development team. I'm sorry that it's not something you can currently do. Okay, so once you archive an agent or landlord, is there any way you can reinstate them back? Of course, yes, you can. So to do that, that's no problem at all. If I go to people and agents, if I go to, for example, Adam here, and I scroll down and archive him and press archive, he is now archived. That means that Adam can no longer log in to Fixflo. Exactly the same with, for example, landlords, contractors, etc. If I then click back on agents here, you will notice that the number 10 is still there, and Adam is actually showing at the bottom here. Now, the reason for that, John, is that if I click here on this little kind of classic drop-down feature, you will notice that on any of the searches, when it's searching for like entities like people or your properties, it will always, be searching for your active or recently archived agents, properties, landlords, etc. So in a couple of days, Adam will actually fall off this list, but I would be able to find him by searching for archived only if that was the case, and then press search, where I can see these are my archived agents. Anna and Let It Be have both already dropped off, but Adam is still there because I've only just deleted him or archived him. I can simply click into any of these profiles, scroll down, and then click unarchive. Just to let you know, whilst I'm talking about this, just for those of you that want to learn a bit more, none of your entities can be deleted except for occupiers. So you can always unarchive anyone at all by clicking there on unarchive. He's then back to live and he can log back in. But occupiers can actually be fully deleted from the system. It's the only thing that can be, and the reason is for GDPR. So we did have to add that. You can only delete archived occupiers from the system. So if I click here on occupiers, you can see there's also a little kind of archive button on the right hand side. So it's really easy to just kind of nip through and archive as many occupiers as you want by simple clicks like that and unarchive them. If I click here on, again, my drop down and I search for my archived occupiers and I click search, I've got 71 here. If I click into this one, for example, I can scroll down and I can now see a delete occupier button that will only appear for archived occupiers, and I can then delete him and he is then deleted. As you can see, there's also an unarchived button. Once an occupier is deleted, I can add them back by clicking on occupiers and clicking add occupier here, so you can re-add them with their email address. I do hope that makes sense. Lots of questions. It's great to see. Guys, thank you for staying on. Obviously, if you want to leave, you can do, but I'm going to continue to go through these questions. If you have any more, keep getting them over to me. I'd love to hear from you. Can I oversee two different teams, i.e. Hull and Lincoln? Thank you, Martin. So you cannot be in two different teams, unfortunately. You can only be in one. Again, if you're in a team, then that means you will get the email to say that a new issue has been reported for that particular team. But if I click here on the dashboard, you can indeed decide that you want to oversee all issues requiring attention for South, so we'll call that Hull for you. And you could also then decide to click here on this little cog on that particular panel, click on copy. That's copied down here, and then I might choose North, which we will call Lincoln for you. So you can definitely oversee them, but you cannot be in two. I hope that makes sense. You can oversee as many teams as you want on your dashboard. That's no problem at all. And you can always click into people, teams, click into any of these teams at all and go to assignments to see a little summary here as well. That's no problem. Okay, the next question. I look after maintenance. Is it possible for all jobs to come in to be assigned to me automatically? Of course, that's no problem at all. What I would recommend that you do if you want to do that is click on properties, click on options and bulk actions. You will want to click on all results and then reassign absolutely everything to you. That you will want to make sure that you've only then got property assignments set up and you don't have postcode assignments set up for anyone else, because as I mentioned before, postcode assignment will always trump property assignment. So you want to make sure you've just got your property assignment set up. Every single property is assigned to yourself. And then it's highly, highly recommended, if you are going to do that, for this to work correctly, you click on setup, settings, and you just make sure that this little setting here, address search option, is only display uploaded properties. You must also make sure that as you go and add more properties, they are then, so you start managing, new properties, they are then added onto Fixflo. That's really, really important. And that you then assign them to yourself. Just to have kind of a double check, triple check, make sure you're fully happy. Always click on properties, click into this search and just double check. If you go to agent or team, just go to unassigned, press search, and just make sure the number is then 0. Maybe do that, I don't know, once every other month or something like that. But that is what I would recommend. So you can definitely have absolutely everything automatically assigned to you. Yes. I hope that makes sense. Again, just keep asking if you're not sure. Brilliant. So the next question, hello Jess, hi. Is there a way to archive in bulk occupiers who already moved out? Very helpful during end of tenancies. So good question there. So as I showed you, if we click on people and occupiers, there's no like bulk action here, unfortunately, but it is very quick to go through and archive. Another thing you can actually do as well, which you may find helpful, is if you click on properties and you click into a property, there is the actions button here where you can actually vacate occupiers, and that will archive all of the occupiers that are registered as living at that particular property. There is no way to bulk vacate properties, unfortunately, where you tick through on the bulk actions. But you could either go through people, occupiers, tick, 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 and well, not tick, 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 but archive on that little lock pad, or you could go into the property, click on actions and vacate the occupiers, and that will then archive those. Maybe it would be good to have a bulk action to vacate properties. I don't know if you guys would find that helpful, but I can imagine at end of tenancies that would be helpful. But especially if you're working in, I don't know, student let, something like that, that would be brilliant. Just going to write that down. I will be able to kind of get a list of all these questions as well. So don't worry, I will get everything over to the development team, but that is something you can do. But bulk vacating might be something we can look into. I can raise it with the development team, but hopefully, Soyed, that's been helpful. Thank you for your question. The next question is from Wendy. When searching through old issues, when coming out of one issue, it takes you back to the start of the search again, and it doesn't stay with your old issues. Am I doing something wrong? I think I know what you mean, Wendy. So if you go to issues, issue search, and you narrow down your filter, so you say that you want is open, no, and you press search, you click into the first one, you go back. No, it does work. Sorry, Wendy, can you let me know what you mean? Because the search for me is staying here. It depends how you're coming out of it. If you click back, that's definitely kind of keeping the is open no option there. If you can just kind of elaborate on that, that would be fantastic. Because again, I do want to make sure that you're happy and that it's working for you. Okay, perfect. So Wendy, sorry, if you can get back to me on that, that would be fab. I'm moving on to the next question. Soyed, so RE Copilot rules. Is there a way to send an agent a notification via a text message in addition to an email, in case the issue has been raised off hours and is urgent? Funnily enough, somebody else has literally asked me the same thing really recently. I did raise it with the development team. Completely understand that there would be certain issues you'd want a text notification for as well, just so you know, everybody, I've got my phone here, everyone has their phone on them all the time. Texts are really, really difficult to miss, really. So yeah, I can see how that would be helpful, Soyed. I will raise that with the development team. Somebody else has mentioned it recently to me, and I did bring that up. So let me put that forward. Unfortunately, it's not currently an option. Stacey, thank you for your question as well. So we have already set up landlord assignment, but we are finding that occasionally we're getting tasks come in unassigned. Why would this happen? If you have landlord assignment set up, but issues are coming in as unassigned, it's probably worth checking, A, is the landlord associated on Fixflo with those properties? And B, are those properties, do you have uploaded properties only within your setup? Make sure you've checked those things first. Again, setup, settings, please flick this over if you haven't already, to make sure that you are viewing only your uploaded properties, because even if you've got landlords correctly attached to properties, but you have the standard national address lookup, if an occupier is reporting an issue at this property, but they're putting it in slightly different, the property will duplicate and the landlord will not be assigned to that property. So you want to make sure that you've got only display uploaded properties on to start with, and that the properties are correctly associated with landlords, and then that a landlord assignment is working. If there are any examples, Stacey, can you just drop us a message and go to need help here and click contact us? Contact us, let us know. You're also here prompted to add the issue number. That's the IS number provided by Fixflo. It will help us just to diagnose the issue slightly quicker. So please let us know if there's any particular examples, but make sure you've got the correct setting set up. Those properties are correctly associated with the landlords, and then it should really work. Excellent. Soyed, thank you for your little message in chat. Of course, yes, I will bring those up with the development team. I'm going to go through kind of all the questions that have come in after this webinar, which is coming to an end very shortly. So yes, I will definitely do that. And thank you for your questions and for attending today. Wendy, I still haven't heard from you. I'm not 100% sure what you meant. I'm so sorry if I haven't answered your question. Please do get back to me. I'm going to be staying online for another few minutes. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure going through issue assignment with you. I really hope you've learned something and taken something from today's webinar. Stay well, stay safe, and enjoy the sunshine. I'll be on for 5 more minutes. Thank you. Okay, no further questions have come in, so I'm going to end the webinar here. Oh, bear with me, one has just come in. So just curious to see why we still need to instruct a job after it has been awarded to a contractor. So instruct a job does mean awarding it to a contractor. I'm a bit confused there, Soid. It could be that it's with a contractor because you're waiting for quotes, and if the quotes come in, then you can award that to a contractor. A few years back, it's just award. Would possibly have changed the terminology. Do you have an example at all? And if you do, it's probably best just to reach out here on the need help and let me know, because possibly we've changed our terminology. We do our updates every 2 weeks, guys, so things do kind of change, and quite quickly sometimes. Yeah, just get in touch on there and I'd be really happy to answer that. And another question has actually come in from Nicole as well, so I will of course answer that. Sorry, just get in touch on need help. I'd be happy to answer it once it comes in, or one of my colleagues, and we can have a look into that, but it could be terminology's changed. Nicole, you've said when the contractor is assigned, if this is a mistake, you know it can be declined. No worries, you pressed it too fast. Don't worry. Get it over to me and I'll answer it. It's no problem. So the question is, can we delete the contractor off the issue? Unfortunately not. So once a contractor's been awarded a job or something like that, they will always remain on the issue. So if I go to my dashboard now quickly and I go to an issue, here we go, reported issue, and I want to award this or instruct the job. So there we go, instruct the job to a particular contractor. And I choose the wrong one. So I choose Reggie, but actually I should have chosen Gary, and I proceed to next step anyway. And then I realize and I think, oh my gosh, why is it with Reggie? I can, of course, decline the job on their behalf and just say, I don't know, incorrect contractor, something like that. Press decline. They will, though, stay here. You cannot just remove them completely. They will stay here because they have at some point been involved, and it will all show on the audit tab as well. So unfortunately not, but the issue status will reflect correctly back to reported, but you cannot just delete them fully. They're not now, they won't be able to see the issue because they're not with the issue anymore, but you cannot just remove them completely. So they will stay there. Okay, excellent. For those of you that need to get in touch via the Need Help widget, please do. I'd be happy to answer anything a little bit more kind of precise. There is another question here. I have another contract. Also, I have a contractor who said that he is no longer getting emails or anything from Fixflo. He said he's tried to reload his account, but it's not working. What's the best advice to give him, or is there a helpline for contractors to speak to your team? Contractors can always speak to us. So when a contractor goes into Fixflo, bear with me 1 second. So if I log out, I'm going to try and log in as a contractor. They have a little help widget as well, so they can get in touch with us, and we'd always be happy for them to reach out. That is no worries at all. So if I just quickly jump in, I think this is the password. Yes, okay, perfect. So you can see they've got their own help widget here, and they can actually contact us here. That's no problem at all. Alternatively, you can give them our email address, which is support@fixflo.com, and we'd be happy to speak to them. It's probably worth you, though, if you want to just get in touch with us, click on your help widget, contact us, tell us who the contractor is, and we can kind of have a look. We send all of our emails through a third party, so it might just be worth us kind of having a look, seeing if there's any blocks or anything like that, and we can definitely get to the bottom of it. So if you reach out or they reach out, it's no problem at all. We'd be happy to help you with that. That's fine. Anything more specific, guys, please get in touch via the Need Help widget. I'd be happy to answer them. It's been a real pleasure. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.